Well folks, welcome back to the workshop. Today we've got a wee quick and easy one for you today. This is just a wee how-to video. This is how to replace the motor in your Paslode nail gun. More specifically, your Paslode IM350 Plus. Either the slide-in lithium battery or the older, longer NiCad battery. This is how you replace the motor if it ever goes bad on you. Handy one to know because these Paslodes, the motors on them don't last as long anymore. So if you use them regularly, you'll probably be replacing it every 2 or 3 years normally. So this is how you replace it if your motor ever goes bad. So you'll know it's bad if it starts doing this. Your gun's working, you're getting your flashing green light. This will flash 10 or 15 times. And then every once in a while it'll put on a wee red flash, just like that. That's totally normal. This though is not. That's how you know the motor's gone. Plunge it down and you get nothing but a solid green light. So that's telling you the motor is running, the power is going to the motor. Then this will start blinking again whenever it stops, but obviously the motor's not coming on at all. So this ain't working. Pull out the gas and we should still get a spark whenever we pull the trigger. Just in case I shoot any nails onto the desk, I'll pull that out. Because sparks can go bad as well, spark unit. You hear that little click inside? That's the actual spark being discharged inside the cylinder head. So the spark unit here is good. It's just the motor that's gone bad. There's basically just 3 things on this: a motor, a spark unit, and a molded circuit board. If one of them 3 things go bad, it's going to stop running. But whenever this goes solid green and you get no motor at all, everything else is working, but the motor's not. So this is how you replace the motor in your Paslode nail gun. When you do this, generally, when it's like this, it's basically a good enough time to actually do a service on the gun as well, because you have to strip it down to get in here. You may as well just strip the whole thing apart and clean the whole thing out and have it all fully serviced, ready to go with a new motor as well. So that's what we're going to do. And this one definitely needs a service because it's quite dirty. So this is not a cheap repair. You'll be talking about €100 for a motor for these here Paslode guns, but it's still worth putting on compared to actually buying a new gun. So first thing is to take off the top head. These here 2 screws on these IM350 Plus. Take one out halfway and then go to the next one. You can take that out full way. If you take the first one out the whole way, the head's going to be held down by this one, and you'll just break this little piece of plastic. So that's in need of a service as well, so we may as well just clean the whole thing. But this is the problem. The motor. You can tell straight away, and if you open this up and turn the motor by hand, you'll feel the resistance. That's not wanting to spin at all. That should just spin free. But you can feel in there, there's something grinding away. The 2 wee contacts for the brushes, for the armature on side, have worn away and have folded over to one side, and it's just causing resistance. These just don't last like they used to. So, and here, 4 screws, 3 holding on the motor, and 1 holding on this little cable clip. Pull them all out. These newer 350s have this little packing piece here. The older 350/90s was just a motor with 3 short screws. Now the screws are longer. They have this little plastic piece as well, just for holding the wiring. Pull that all off, and then take off your fan, which is a T7 Torx to get into this. That off, you can easily just pull out your motor. Generally, this is another reason why they sometimes fail, because they just pull oil inside of here if they're not being serviced right or regularly enough. Oil just builds up down in here now, and it can cause dirt and grit to build up, causing the motor to wear out even faster. It's just dirty inside of here, so we're just going to strip the whole thing and clean the entire thing out as well. Same process for this 350 and for the older 350/90, just different batteries. but the inside of the gun and all this here is basically the exact same. So that out, we may as well just clean the head too. Just check the little red stem adapter. Because if it's loose and flapping around a little bit, the gas will actually be escaping out of it, won't get a proper seal, put all the gas under the gun. If there's any leak coming out of here, the gun just won't fire. So if that's loose at all, just replace that too. The rest of this looks fine. This isn't all that old a gun. Where's the serial number? So it's actually a 2021, it's only 4 years old. And it's already needing a new motor. Plenty of other videos on here that I've done on how to service these. It's basically all the same now. Take that off. You can dismantle it if you want, or you can just leave it together. Pull out the screws, push in these two little steel pieces. Need them in to get off this plate. And you've got 3 screws on the outside of here, holding on the steel plate, which screws onto the aluminium housing here and pulls up on the plastic housing on the side. So that just locks everything together. Pull them out, and you can separate it. So you need these on to get this out over the top of them. This is just steel and aluminium. If it's outside lock, these can sometimes rust and become very stiff. If they won't move, you just have to get a hammer and tap them out. It's not a big deal. They normally go like that anyway. So fairly dirty on the inside. Not massively, but enough to need a service. Just get everything out, give it a wee check over, make sure there's no other damage, make sure none of these here are broken off. It's only a couple of years old, so I'm going to leave the reed valve. If this was firing and not taking the pin back or not putting out every nail, if it was misfiring, I'd also open this and clean out the reed valve. But I only like to open these when there's a problem, because the more you open them, the more you wear out these screws and the aluminium housing here, making it a slacker fit. So I'm going to leave that and not open up the reed valve because I don't think it needs to be done. That's it stripped apart. Now over to the parts washer and clean it, and then I'll get a new motor onto it. That's it all clean. Now, like I say, servicing it and actually cleaning it is optional. You don't have to do this. You can just get away with replacing the motor on the back and going from there. But I would recommend just servicing the whole thing while you are taking it apart, and just leave it right. Now, washing the parts washer is one thing. What I'm using in the parts washer is kerosene. Just normal kerosene to actually clean the grease off, the oil. Does a great job of breaking down all the old oil and cleaning everything up really nice. You can use kerosene, you can have a bit of diesel on it, or a little paint thinner or something like that. Anything at all just to clean off the grease and clean it up. But afterwards, you still have to put it across an air compressor, an air line, and blow everything out. Get all the wee nooks and crannies cleaned with an air line, get all the dirt and debris and kerosene out. Because the kerosene, if left on, will just break down the new oil once you put it on. When you are rebuilding, a bit of original Paslode oil is the best thing to get it lubed up again. But if you're stuck and don't have any, you can get away with a bit of 3-in-1 oil. It'll do the same job. It's only to keep it lubricated when you initially start it running for the first few nails or few hundred nails or so. Because the actual gas itself doesn't just have butane in it, but also has some oil in it as well to keep the gun lubricated. That's why they get so dirty over time. So as long as you have some oil on it, whenever you initially start getting it running, it'll not be metal on metal. That'll be fine. The actual oil inside the gas then will keep it lubricated. But just get all the O-rings and seals, these metal rings, all coated up with a layer of oil first before you actually assemble everything. That'll keep you right. But if you're stripping these down to change a motor, you're better off just servicing the whole thing, because there's not much to it. Doing it once will give you a good idea of how it's actually done. There's not much to it, as you can see, and there's not many tools needed, because literally there's not many tools needed to actually dismantle these. A T20 torque screwdriver, a 4mm Allen key, and a T7 torque screwdriver is all you need tool wise for dismantling. And then the last thing then is just a set of circlip pliers for taking out the C-clip. There's not many tools needed for this job, and that's if you're using hand tools. I stick everything else then into a drill, so number 4 Allen key and a drill and a T25 and another one, just to quickly dismantle everything. Makes everything nice and quick and easy. So once you have everything oiled then, you can just go ahead and start rebuilding. You always start off with just a piston. Throw this on. Sometimes snags here. Lift it up and just tap it on. You might have to just push in little metal rings to get it on fully. And your circle up then on top to hold that on. Just make sure that is engaged right. Make sure your 2 rubber bumps are still installed down here. Push your piston down. Stick in your wear strip. There's a little metal plate that the pin actually runs on here, so it's not rubbing on the aluminium. And you should have a wee square nut. Drop that on there. Then you have your yoke holding your wear plate. Drop your yoke on top. That actually hooks on to the back of the wear plate as well. Put that on, and then your springs. These go on and push this up. Springs on. Push down your yoke. Squeeze on the sides. Slide that over your lower chamber. And you screw it then with these 2 pins. Put these on, push this all the way down, and just slide them in. Only a slack fit. Now, if you don't have this little square nut on, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to go in yet. You can actually just slide it in now whenever this is together. You can just get a screwdriver and actually just prise it up and snap it on. It doesn't have to go together at the very beginning. That's your assembly ready to go. Stick on your cover and your plate back on. Then 3 screws on top, the medium sized ones with a coarse thread. Before you tighten them, always get them all started, because if you drive one on full and tighten it up, the plate will move to one side and you'll not get the other ones started. Get them all started first and then tighten them up. Plus it just saves you cross-threading them, because you'll feel the resistance change. If you're screwing them in by hand, you'll know you're cross-threading them or not. Now, I normally just leave this together if there's nothing wrong with it, which I've done here. Push this little square nut forward, so it's underneath the two holes. Put these two bolts in for holding the head on, and then your probe at the front, and then drop that back on top. Same as these screws, do one at a time, get them started, and tighten them down. And that's your top half ready to go. Now, motor, is the part number you need, 902664. It just comes as a motor only now. They used to come with a little plastic piece on here, this little plastic plate to pack out the inside. They don't come with that anymore now. So this motor now does this gun and does the older IM350/90. Does the two of them. So it just drops in, and then the screws hold it down. Put these two screws on first to initially get it in, and then the last one then you leave to the end, because there's a little earth wire goes on top as well. There's a wee grounding wire to dissipate any static build-up, because a motor with a fan running air across it can mix static electricity, and if it shorts in to the spark unit here, it can cause damage. It's only static, it's very low current, but very high voltage, so it can cook stuff. There's a wee wire there just to stop it from causing damage. Your fan, drop it on. Now, tool wise, like I was saying, one of the things you need is a T7 Torx. I would recommend one of these here instead of a T7 screwdriver. Just a universal screwdriver that just takes the little butt ends, because these are only T7 and they're tight. Generally, you'll snap these fairly quick. So if you're using a screwdriver, a T7 screwdriver, see what I mean? And just nipped off. That one's already gone. It's only done 2 fans. If you're using an actual screwdriver, you mightn't even get the fan off, let alone one foot back on again, because it could just snap on you. So we use these here instead. When they break, you can just replace the butt instead of the whole screwdriver. That's her. One new motor, one fan reattached. That's how it should be spinning, with no resistance. That can just slide back onto here. Put these on loose first, so the head can still wave back and forth, so you can get the head back on again. Before I put that on, just put on the door for your gas. It's easy now because you just prise it back and clip on the wee legs on it. Then put on that screw, just hand tight for now, and rewire this on. Click on your motor connector, and this is the wee grounding wire that can go on now. And then the lead for your spark plug. The spark plug in these as well, a lot of people look to replace them. Generally, spark plugs and Paslodes very rarely wear out. It's not like a car spark plug. It'll be running and sparking thousands of times an hour. This here will only be sparking thousands of times a year. Very rarely wears out. And that's it. That's the motor replaced and the gun serviced. This head's still slack. It can drop on very easily. It'll not sit down fully yet because these bolts are pushing onto here. So just put them in a little bit at a time and tighten them up. Just give it a test plunge to make sure it goes up and down, and put on your back cover. Not the cheapest of fixes, it's about €100 for that motor, like I say, but it's better to replace the motor than replace the whole gun. But there's nothing really else that wears out and needs to be replaced in these generally all that often. Maybe your filter, the gauze for your filter, if there's a hole in it, but that's not even all that essential. But the steel rings don't need to be replaced. There's no O-rings inside anymore. The only other thing you might have to replace is just that little red stem adapter. But that's it. That is how you replace the motor on a Paslode IM350 Plus. So now the motor will start up. You get your solid green light and you'll hear your motor actually running. And you'll hear the sparking inside. Now just give her one wee quick shot to make sure she's definitely running. If you've got the volume up loud, I would turn it down, or else take off the earphones if you're wearing them, because this will be loud, which is a sharp bang. And that's it. That is how you replace a worn out motor on a Paslode nail gun. Quick and easy fix. Only the difficult thing about it is if you're going to service the thing as well. But I would recommend doing a full service, a stripped down job if you are going to bother replacing the motor. That's how you do it if you have a Paslode, and that's how you identify it if it is the problem with the motor. You'll get a green light on the motor. That's normally the first sign. Take it apart, drop it out, and get your gun firing like new again. Anyway folks, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this wee tool repair video. If you're looking for other Paslode videos, I have plenty of other ones on the channel as well. But until next time folks, if you're liking the channel, liking the videos, give us a wee like down the bottom. If you want to help out the channel, hit that subscribe button as well. But until next time, I'll chat to you later.